Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. Today we are going to finally review my favorite standalone novel, The Night Circus. Before we get into it, I do want to tell you about the giveaways I have coming up, and I also want to tell you that I will be linking to the blog post with my review down below if you find it easier to read it and the captions aren't sufficient, or if you want to get the actual book blurb, that kind of information that I always include, and the purchase links. So, giveaways coming up. The first giveaway that's coming up is the Let's Get Jenna Monetized giveaway. Once this channel is eligible to apply for monetization, which means once I have the watch hours accumulated, then I will open a giveaway that will be open to all of my subscribers. As long as you're at least 14 years old, you will have a choice of prize packs, and all prize packs will include a small original artwork created by myself. Your choices of prize packs are the art supplies I've been setting aside for a giveaway like this, the duplicate fantasy genre novels on my shelf, or a custom order placed on Book Depository on your behalf. The second giveaway I have coming up is the Let's Get Jenna to 2K giveaway, and once this channel reaches and stays at 2,000 subscribers for a few days, just in case it changes, I will open a giveaway and you can win either an Amazon gift card or a Book Depository order. More details for both are in the description box down below. All prizes except for the Amazon gift card will require that you are willing and able to share your mailing address with me. That will be in private if you win. Alright, let's get on to the review. Before I start actually freestyle rambling this review, I want to read the first paragraph of my review verbatim. When people ask me what The Night Circus is about, I'll frequently say, let's be honest, type, something like this. It's about forbidden love and a compelling magical circus. The prose is exquisite, the magic is intricate and beautiful, and the circus is electrically ethereal. The plot moves slowly, and although stakes are as high as stakes can be, they're understated and secret. So this is not a book for readers who need big, loud plot events every 50 pages or so. It is, however, the ideal book for readers who fall in love with characters and want to spend time with them, and for readers who love a compelling setting that is, in and of itself, a key character. Alright, so The Night Circus, my favorite novel, as I mentioned, by Erin Morgenstern. This is the story of Marco and Celia. Marco and Celia are the apprentices of two magicians who have been having this ongoing feud over magic styles and teaching styles for who knows how long. They are centuries old. Nobody ever pins down how old they are. One used to be the other's teacher. They started this feud. They started these games. What they do in these games is each of them picks an apprentice. They train their apprentice in their style, and their apprentice is bound by a ring to see this to the end. Once both apprentices are ready, they're sent off into the world to complete their game. They're not told what exactly the parameters of their game are, and they're usually not told who their opponent is. What's not explained very clearly to them is that the game's not over until there's only one standing. It's a battle to the death, but not like in the Super Saiyans Kamehameha whatever at each other all the time. This is a wearing each other down until somebody gives up. But like gives up, So in this round, Celia is Prospero's apprentice. She's also his daughter. And Marco is the apprentice presented by the other one, the man in the gray suit, A.H. We don't really get his name. Marco ends up being encouraged to go work for the man who's going to organize and set free this magical traveling circus. He doesn't know it's actually magical. Marco does. The guy in charge of it doesn't. And because of that, he's present for all of the staff hiring, so he sees Celia when she comes to audition to be an illusionist in the circus. So he knows right away who she is. And I forgot before I came back and reread it for this review that he meets her that early, because I was remembering that he meets Isabel quite early on. Isabel ends up being the fortune teller in the circus. They also meet in a similar out at a cafe type situation, but I forgot that they meet at the audition first. and Marco immediately knows who she is. She doesn't know who he is for a significant portion of this book. I am rambling. So Celia is the illusionist performing in and traveling with Le Cirque des Rêves, the Circus of Dreams. This is a black and white themed circus that travels at night. It sets up at night, it performs at night, it closes during the day, it disappears at night. It doesn't announce its schedule, it doesn't announce where it's going, it doesn't announce what day it's going to open until it's there, it doesn't announce what day it's leaving until it's gone. It's one of those amazing transfixing experiences where everybody who goes, they've got to go again. They become, well, fans of it, but some of them want to follow the circus everywhere. They call themselves the rêveurs, the dreamers. They identify themselves to each other by wearing a pop of red color somewhere in their outfit, but otherwise dressing in black and white to match the circus. And they start letters, they start magazines to each other, letting each other know where the circus popped up and following it. Celia is constantly adding to the circus from within. Marco is constantly adding to the circus from afar, where it's being monitored, where it's being sent all over the place. He's looking at the blueprints of the circus and planning his additions that way. She's just seeing what's actually there, and she's responding to Marco. Eventually he's also responding to her. Eventually he does actually attend the circus a few times. She goes to parties when they celebrate anniversaries of the circus. They start to get to know each other and love each other in person, but first they love each other through just appreciating what each other has done to the circus. There are other important characters in this book. Chandrish is the man he's the proprietor of the circus. He sent it out into the world. He's the guy that Marco is working for. We have Thiessen, the German engineer who designed the clock that everybody's fascinated by at the entrance to the circus. And he ends up working with Celia to add things to the circus that she then enchants to further enhance them. He's the guy who started the rêveurs. We have a pair of twins. They're called Widget and Puppet. They have proper names, but that's what everybody calls them. They were born the night that the circus first opened, and they perform by training kittens to perform out in the middle of the pathways. They enchant everybody. And there's a boy called Bailey who was dared to sneak into the circus when it first appeared in his town, and when he did, he met Puppet. And she gave him a white glove to take back as proof that he had been there, to prove to his siblings that he did the dare, but he doesn't end up showing it to anybody. It's too personal. He puts it away. And when the circus comes back, he's looking for Puppet, and he wants to run away with the circus, basically. What makes this book so slow is that you're about halfway through before anything really, really interesting happens with it. But it starts to become clear that everybody who's involved in the circus is being affected as a side effect of the magic. And people who are involved with the circus but not within the circus, they start having side effects. People start being injured, people start disappearing, people start forgetting, having memory problems. Chandrish can't move on from this project and launch anything else. His memory's not working like that anymore. And then things start going wrong inside the circus too, because there's just so much going on, so much magic. They can't hold it together anymore. They can't keep it going as it is. Eventually this game's got to end. So the stakes really are high. It's not just life and death for Celia and Marco, it's life and death for the circus. I really love the love story aspect of this, but I also just love how whimsically beautiful the setting of Le Cirque des Rêves is. This is mostly written in third person, in no particular character's heads. The narrator definitely knows what Celia is thinking, definitely knows what Marco's thinking, definitely knows what Bailey's thinking, but it doesn't take really clear points of view all the time. It's very separate, very third person. And then you get these little interludes that are written in second person. They're written directly to you, the reader, because you are walking through the circus one night. You're experiencing it for the first time. And as the story goes on, you're spending a night in the circus. I find that really cool. I find that really well done. Oftentimes, second person isn't well done in books. It is in here. I love that part. I know this was originally drafted for NaNoWriMo, and I suspect that second person experiencing the circus, I expect that was the part that was written then, because it is shorter. It is that short. This book is often categorized as literary fiction, which isn't really a genre. It's kind of just the category that you put things in because they will appeal to general adult fiction readers, even though it doesn't necessarily belong in the general fiction category. This is fantasy. It's very pedestrian, very light. It's not gonna scare people away, but it is historical urban fantasy. It is magical realism. It's the sort of book that usually gives me a book hangover if I let it. If I don't have other things I really have to read, this is the sort of book where I don't read anything else for a few days because the only thing I could possibly read next is this again. And not sitting in that this time, having to go read something else has been weird. I have never actually read this particular physical copy. I grabbed my first copy, a mass market paperback, like one of these, this size. I grabbed that while I was working at a grocery store when this book was brand new. Mass market paperback, it was probably about a year old. I was working at that grocery store. I was helping my coworker, my friend, do the book returns and new books putting out, and it caught my eye. I bought it on my break. I read it. I loved it. That copy is sitting in a box in my mother's garage somewhere on the other side of the country. I've read that copy 2 or 3 times. I have an ebook copy that I've read 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 times, I'm not sure. I've never actually read this copy. I bought a nicer copy to show off and maybe reread, but then I bought the ebook. My favorite quote is late in the book. It's, "We lead strange lives, chasing our dreams around from place to place." That's something one of the Rivers says to Bailey when Bailey finds out who the Rivers are and actually joins them. If I had thought ahead and actually went and raided my jewelry box, I had that stamped into a bracelet years ago because I love that quote. This time around, this reading for this review, I actually borrowed the audiobook off of Libby. Apparently, I didn't actually write the narrator's name anywhere in that blog post, so I will find it and put it in the description. The narrator for this, he has one of those pleasant, generic English accent voices. I can't really pin it down to any region in England without being an English person. He has a very low, raspy voice. It's easy to listen to. I have always pictured the narrative voice of the Night Circus as being very soft and feminine, floaty, ethereal, like the circus itself, and this is not it. So I was immediately put off by the sound of this narrator's voice. He's not a bad narrator. I would enjoy listening to him narrate other things, and in fact, these guys, Mercedes Lackey's Elemental Masters series, I would love to hear him read these ones to me. But not the Night Circus. It's not the right voice for the Night Circus. On top of that, every character is given the same voice. He doesn't pitch up for Celia, he doesn't pitch down for Marco, he doesn't try to do accents for Yertisen, who's German, but the twins, Poppet and Widget, are Irish? That's not mentioned anywhere in the book. We don't really know much about their parents. They're performers in the circus, but we don't know who they were before they came to the circus. I don't believe in my 6 or 7 or 8 reads through this book that they were identified as Irish. All we know is that they came from somewhere in the UK, supposedly because the circus is originating there, and we don't have many off-island people. And we know that the twins have red hair. But they're being raised by a circus, not just by their parents. They're being raised by a circus, and everybody else in the circus speaks with the narrator's generic English voice. And these red-headed twins have a very distinct Irish accent. I don't mind an Irish accent. I love an Irish accent. I think it was a very stereotypical choice for the narrator, possibly influenced by the author, I'm not sure, but I just don't buy it that a pair of twins raised by a community, not just two parents, raised by a community, would cling on to the parents' accent. I just don't. And I think it's very stereotypical that you took the two characters that are defined by their red hair and gave them an Irish accent. It took me out of the story whenever they spoke, because that's not supposed to be what defines Poppet and Widget, and it's definitely not important in the story, but the narrator made it important and made it defining of them because they're the only characters who were given distinct accents, and the redheads were Irish. If I was rating the audiobook itself, this would be a 3.5, a 4, because the narration really didn't work for me. I don't know if I would have the same criticisms of the audiobook narration if I experienced it first, if this had been my first read-through of the book, but since this is my favorite book and I've read it so many times and I've read it for myself, so I've been able to imagine how the circus sounds, it didn't work for me. Really didn't work for me. And again, part of that's just, this is not how I envisioned this sounding. And I'm gonna hang my hat on the Poppet and Widget sounding Irish thing. So overall, for the Night Circus, 5 stars. Specifically for the narrator's performance, 3.5, 4. If you've read the Night Circus, tell me what you think of it down below, and if you haven't, let me know if you are interested in reading it now. If you're looking for more to watch, I've got some suggestions up on the left side of the screen now. Don't forget to like, comment, maybe even subscribe, and if you like living life creatively, whatever that means to you, I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye guys!